Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 71841, Dragonian Storm Village from the first NINJAGO Dragons Rising Season 3 wave. This set contains 305 pieces, 6 minifigures, and will retail for $39.99 in the US when it officially releases on January 1st, 2025. This set was gifted to me early for review by the LEGO group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are entirely my own. I'm doing early reviews of every single January 2025 Ninjago set right now. There should already be one other up on the channel, and there's more coming very soon, so make sure to let me know in the comments, what set do you guys want to see reviewed next? And if you enjoy these reviews and you want to see more, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you're new. Liking and subscribing does a ton to help support me and the channel, and also helps YouTube to show you my videos more often. So thank you all very much for your support, and now let's get into the review. So here's the build of the Dragonian Storm Village, and this set is absolutely a minifigure set. Like, the most exciting part about this thing is the minifigures that it comes with, because it has some really amazing ones. But the minifigures are not everything in this set, so we're going to take a look at the build first. I will say right off the bat, though, it's definitely a little bit small. On the flip side of that, though, you do get a lot of minifigures in this set, a lot more than you typically get in a set of this size. So there's a little bit of give and take there when it comes to that. It's just up to you, like, whether or not that's worth it. We'll loop back to that conversation, though, at the end of this video. For now, let's take a look at the actual build of this set. So I guess we'll start off with this. This is like a little brick-built spinner, and I don't know like what exactly it's supposed to be. Is it supposed to be Spinjitzu? Is it supposed to be Shatter Spin? Is it something else we haven't seen yet? It uses these really interesting new pieces that I'm not entirely sure how I feel about. I think for something like this, like a little spinner, these are actually quite cool. They look really neat when they're spinning, and they're able to like knock things over that are in their path. It's used in other contexts and other sets, but you know what, I'll hold off talking about that for those other sets. In the case of this set, though, I think this is a good use of it. This exact color for this piece does not only come in this set, it does come in one other set, Rosinairen's Super Stormjet, but as I said, yeah, it is new for this wave. So yeah, this is a spinner, which is something we've had many times before in Ninjago, but it's not a one-person spinner, it's a two-person spinner. So I'm going to give you a quick little minifigure teaser. If I take, like, Morro, who does come in this set, and place him right here, and the new version of Jay, who also comes in this set, and place him right here, I'm able to spin them both together. It's kind of hard to do that fast because my fingers are a little bit bigger than the target audience for this set, and they are standing somewhat close to the center, so let's try that again. Maybe if I remove Morro's weapon. Yeah, that's a little bit better. You can also spin it from the outside here like that. But anyway, I think the intent is you can have two different characters fight while spinning together, which is something new that we've not seen before. You can also do the more classic thing of trying to aim at enemies and knock them down. There we go. This guy's a tail to hold him up. Probably not the best example. Let's try this guy. There we go, that's a little bit better. Or alternatively, you could try posing your characters like a little loosely on the spinner, only using one foot, and try to see who falls off first. There we go, Morro lost that fight. So yeah, I don't know, it's an interesting idea. I do always like seeing spinner play features in sets, and it being for two minifigures instead of just one is something new, but I am having a little bit of trouble figuring out like exactly what the purpose of it's supposed to be. It's always fun to spin things though, and this one at least looks cool. Like these new purple pieces do look really nice when they're spinning. Moving on to the main Storm Village structure though, it's in like this sort of U-shape, very similar to many of the battle arenas we've had over the years. Often when we get a spinner, we get something like this, where it's meant to be placed around the spinner, and just like in the sets that came before it, there is a little weapon rack on the side, so you can store extra minifigure accessories and weapons here, and then give them to the minifigures when they're ready to fight. There's 3 total clips. I would have actually liked to see a little bit more, because I think that's some of the fun of these battle arena sets, is they often come with a ton of different weapons. This one though, no, it only holds 3, and it's basically just the weapons that already go with the minifigures in this set, so having more and more unique weapons definitely would have been better. On the opposite side, we have a little cage, which is another very classic Ninjago play feature. Very similar design to ones we've had before in the past, but I mean, hey, if it's not broke, one of the ninja minifigures in the set could be trapped inside like this, and you can close it back up around them. The colors look good. I think the sand green is nice, and I like the little leaf coming off the top. That's a fun touch. And this is meant to be very easy to remove if you want to like take Zane away and move him somewhere else. The center of the structure, we have this big face with these 2 like teeth coming up from the bottom, tiny teeth right here, as well as some more small teeth right there. Red eyes, big angry eyebrows. Unfortunately, I don't really know like what this face is supposed to be just yet. Season 3 has not aired, and it might appear on the show, it might not, but I can tell it's supposed to be a face, so that's something. Right up above that, there's 2 stickered banner pieces with like this dragon face on it. I assume that's probably the same thing the face is supposed to be, and this is probably meant to be like the banner of the Dragonians. They don't actually have that symbol on their minifigures anywhere, which would have been cool to see. Would have created some consistency between that graphic and them, but I mean, it's very clearly a dragon face. They're dragon people. It makes sense. These little horns tie in nicely to that theming too. Above that, we just have a little doorway, some lanterns hanging down. There's this really cool, like, dragon helmet piece at the top. That's actually used on the Dragonian minifigures this wave as well, so we'll take a closer look at that when we look at the minifigures. But it does tie into a sort of, like, play feature in this set, which is quite cool. But yeah, we'll see that with the minifigures. Another little tree growing out the side that brings more life to the build, and it's also a place for, like, these small flying Dragonians that come in this set to perch. It looks very cute right there. There's this rubber bar piece that goes from the top all the way to the very bottom. This is meant to be a climbing rope for the ninja to get up to the top. And then, like, the main play feature of the set is this bridge bridge that can collapse. You're gonna have a minifigure standing up here and then pulling this little red circular piece, and then they'll fall into the dungeon below. The dungeon really doesn't have anything going on aside from this, because it does just come with a standard LEGO skeleton, so hey, I guess that's sort of like a bonus minifigure in this set. Always fun to get those guys. But yeah, there's really not anything else in here. When you're ready to reset the drawbridge, you just push it back up like that, and then it's ready to fall back down again whenever you want. And that's basically the gist of the builds of this set. I definitely have more I want to say about them, but I'll save that for the end of this video. For now, let's take a look at the minifigures that come in this set, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts on everything. So here are the first two minifigures in the set, the two normal ninja minifigures. We have both Nya and Zane in their all-new storm suits. Now, Zane, weirdly, is kind of exclusive to this set. This is actually the only set that comes with this new hood piece. You can get this suit without the hood in the 4+ set from this wave, and then the $10 mech set comes with a different version of Zane that has the same leg piece, but it has no hood and a completely different torso. So if you want the complete version of this figure, this is the only set you can get it in, which is definitely a little bit strange. But that being said, this is a really good set anyway, so it's not like the end of the world that this is the only place you can get him, so I'm happy he was included here. And then Nya is not exclusive to this set. She does come in one other set in her full outfit, and then again in the 4+ set without her mask piece, but this is the cheapest set that she comes in, which is also good to keep in mind. Anyway, talking about the actual minifigures, yes, these are the all-new storm suits, which introduce this very strange new mask piece. At first, I wasn't entirely sure how I felt about it, but now having them in hand, I think I like it. It's not like my favorite mask piece ever. I definitely prefer more like standard ninja masks. I think like the mech suit masks from last year were really, really good. These, though, do something a little bit different. It looks like they're meant to be ninja hoods with armor in them. You can see there's like a plate at the very front with some textured lines on it, and especially at the top of the hood, you can see how it's like layered. The closest thing we've had to this before is like the Master of the Mountain armor, but those weren't entirely supposed to look like ninja, they were also supposed to look like knights. So I like that these still like definitely feel like ninja, it's just a different kind of ninja outfit. Looking at the actual ninja suits, just like pretty much all of the Dragons Rising suits so far, the ninja do actually match each other, the only differences are the symbols and the colors. So I don't really have much to discuss about these independently aside from their color schemes. The overall design though I think is very cool. Again, just like the mask, they do feel very like high-tech, very armored. All of the ninja, of course, have like actual ninja robes, but underneath it they have like this gold plating over their chest, which looks awesome. And that gold color is consistent across all the different ninja minifigures this wave. Right here's where their symbols are. You can see that's the Ninjago letter Z, that's the Ninjago letter N. And the asymmetry of these suits is quite cool, how that's on one side and then they've got like the lines on the other. They both have like these straps on too, as if they have like gear on their back. On Zane it's gray, on Nya it's like azure. And I like how the armor continues all the way down to the legs too, and they even have like golden toe printing. It feels like these outfits are really decked out, like they're really prepared for whatever adventure they're going on. In terms of color scheme, I really love that Zane is using this blue. I think that's probably my favorite color that he uses. It looks amazing on the hands with the white, it like represents the element of ice really well, but I'm not the biggest fan of the gray on this suit. I think especially when Zane has the titanium face, whenever he has gray on his mask, they just sort of blend together and it doesn't really pop as much as it should. So I definitely would have preferred if that blue color that's on the hands was actually used on the mask as well, though maybe they were trying to make Zane and Nya feel a little bit more different. But we have had Zane suits that have blue on their mask, like the core suit for example, so it would have been nice to see something similar carry over here. The gray's not the end of the world, he still looks really good, but this is one of those suits where I just feel like he looks a lot better when his hood is off, because then you can see all the detail of the face. I feel like the gray just makes it really blend in. And like gray works fine to represent ice, but it's also just not the most exciting thing in the world. The blue definitely would have been a lot more fun. But I think the gray is fine on the torso and the legs. Again, more of the blue would have been nice, but I think they used the right amount of it. The blue, white, and gold especially just all come together really nicely. And then Nya, unsurprisingly, as she often is probably one of the best minifigures of the wave. She's back to using gunmetal gray as her base color, which is kind of surprising because she hasn't done that in a while. Her first Dragons Rising suit was entirely azure, and like her climber suit and her mech suit had a little bit of that gunmetal gray, but that was absolutely an accent that time around. But no, this time we do have gunmetal gray on the torso, the arms, and the legs, and I have to say, this was probably the right decision. I do think azure Nya is really cool, but the azure with the gunmetal gray just looks so nice. With the gold detailing on top too is incredible, and then she uses one of my favorite printing colors, metallic blue, and that's really just the last little bit that ties everything together. This figure looks spectacular. Nya does just use some of the nicest looking colors in her suit, so she's often one of my favorites of the wave, but this might be one of the best Nya suits yet. Like genuinely, I love this so much. The hood too, like those colors go together so well. I like that it's a gunmetal gray suit, but they still use a lot of that azure, because with her previous gunmetal suits, they've used a little bit of the blue, but it's like very little. This though, it feels like it fully embraces both colors and just turned out fantastic. Both of these figures use the armor pieces that were introduced in the Tournament of the Sources wave. The Ninja had them in gold that wave, but Evil Jay had them in black, so now this time around the Ninja had them in black, and as we'll see in just a moment, Jay has it in gold, because of course they cannot match. That is not allowed. But the black armor reminds me of like the Hands of Time suits. I think it looks really sleek. Obviously it looks a lot better on Nya because it fits her color scheme a lot more, but it's not bad on Zane either. I feel like it fits in. And I guess now's a fine time to talk about the accessories. You can see Nya just comes with 2 golden katanas, very common Ninjago part, but Zane actually comes with 1 golden katana and one of the new collectibles of this wave, a prismatic blade. Now the prismatic blade is just a standard katana piece in an all new recolor. It's like this sparkly white transparent color. Whenever this comes in a set, it's always like so hard to like show off and describe because it appears differently in different lighting. Most of the time it's sort of like a foggy white with a little bit of blue and a little bit of purple to it. However, if you have it under like bright warm lighting, which I do right now, it might have a little more of a yellow tint to it. But the fact that it changes colors is also kind of what makes it cool. In the show, there's apparently 5 of these and the villains are trying to collect them, but because it is that standard katana piece, of course you can fit it in the armor on the back. And they can fit 2 katanas, so you can also use the other one. And these are both good minifigures, and Nya especially I'm happy to see in a more accessible set. She's often exclusive to like big expensive sets, so I'm happy to get her in something a little bit smaller. Oops, actually one more thing, I almost forgot to show you these back torso prints on these two. Those like straps continue around the back, and then they both have this all new dragon symbol, which I'm very curious about. Because it's not just like the source dragon symbol that we've seen before, though it clearly ties in with the source dragons. I think it's maybe just meant to be like the rising dragon technique symbol, but it's like split in 2. One side has like these lines on it, and that's the same case on both of the minifigures, but then the other side is themed around their respective source dragons, the ice one and the water one, which we do not have names for either of those yet. They look quite good though, I think the asymmetry is fun. Here are the next 2 minifigures in the set, 2 of just like the generic villains for this wave. We have a Dragonian Warrior and we have a Dragonian Scout. Now these guys are the same villains that come in basically every single other set this wave. Pretty much every set comes with either one or both of them, so they're definitely not difficult to get, but if you want to build up an army, it's always good to get more. And this is the Dragonian Storm Village, right? This is a set themed around them, it makes sense that they come in this set. And overall, I do like these new designs, they're just very strange. I guess before we talk about the minifigure, let's talk about the accessories. These guys actually always have the same accessories no matter what set they're in. The Warriors come with like this orc sword piece and the Scouts come with a battle axe. It is always fun to have different types of weapons, but the consistency is also kind of cool, because if you want to build up a big army, yeah, they can all have the same exact weapons. It keeps things very consistent, which is neat. And removing those, there's a better look at the actual minifigures. The 2 of them are very similar. They both have the same exact leg piece, same exact torso piece, same exact armor piece. The only differences are the head piece, the head attachment, and what's on the back of this guy. The Warriors are definitely the better version of this minifigure. They have like this dragon, I guess, helmet attachment that goes on top. Still not entirely sure if that's meant to be a helmet or if that's meant to be the Dragonian's actual head, because there is a face print inside. But either way, it's really cool, because combined with that armor piece, that like bottom jaw, it creates a full dragon face. I love the way those 2 parts come together. And then the mohawk on the other guy, I mean, it's cool, it's a neat way to have something different, but between the 2, yeah, I definitely prefer this one. And then there's a secondary play feature on this guy's back. So you can see he has this all new tail piece, there's like dragon scales that come down, it's pointed at the end, and there's also little wings attached to the side to make him feel like an actual dragon person. And that works really well, but if you want to, you can also separate this and just have it be its own thing. Because removed from the minifigure, you can see this is actually a head at the top right here, so it's a different type of Dragonian now. It's like this little dragon flyer. These wings are all new pieces that attach on clips and they can be flapped up and down. It's a very cute little build. It gives you something extra to fight, it gives you more to play with this minifigure, and you can see with it removed, there's like the perfect spot for the head to fit back in. I love the way that integrates, that's easily the best part of these figures. But then there's also a second feature to these guys, which is kind of interesting. If we turn the headpiece around, there is an alternate face, but it's not a traditional alternate face. Instead, it's just like a printed ball of fire, and I'm pretty sure the intent behind that is if you put the head back on, then it looks like this is just a dragon person breathing fire out of their mouth. I do wish there was a little more printing like in the eye area to make them pop a little bit more. There's a little bit that peeks through, but they definitely could have made that a little more prominent. But even still, I think this transformation is really cool. I've never seen another minifigure do something like that. There's the look of the full face prints with the armor and everything removed. You can see this guy has like a really wide grin and like big bushy eyebrows, while this guy has a little bit of tan on his lower jaw. Also, I realized this guy has an overbite, this one has an underbite. That's another slight difference between them. And if we turn them around, there's the alternate face on this guy and the back head print on this guy. Of course, he does not have an actual alternate face because it would show through the mohawk. And torso and leg prints, I don't think I've mentioned. If you want to see more detail about them, I think I talk about it more in my Ultra Combiner Mech review. But I think it's really good. It's nice, like metallic silver armor. It's got scratches all over it to show that they've been fighting. And that's the same thing on the front. Now, before I move on to the final minifigures in this set, there's one more thing I want to show you, another like really cool thing for play. This is, of course, the Dragonian Storm Village. You can assume this is probably where they live. And based off both the appearance and the names, I assume the Dragonian Warrior is slightly higher ranking than the Dragonian Scout. He gets the full helmet, he gets the wings, while this guy just has the armor piece. Well, this set actually gives you everything you need to upgrade this guy into another warrior if you want. As I showed you earlier, at the top of the village, there's a little dragon head, and that's the same one this guy has, so you can attach it to this guy to be his dragon helmet. And the set also also includes an extra of the little baby Dragonian, and you can have this just perch in the tree in the main set if you want, or you can attach it to the back of this figure to give him wings. So now if you want, just using the parts in the set, you can have 2 full Dragonian Warriors. Of course, this guy still doesn't have the fire-breathing face print, so if we just keep him like this, they fit pretty well together. And now, what everybody's been waiting for, here are the final 2 minifigures in the set. We have Rogue and we have Morro. And Rogue, in case you couldn't tell by his blue clothing and lightning weapons, this is the new version of Jay for this wave. Now, these 2 minifigures kind of make the entire set. Like everything else so far, it's been cool, it's been really good, but I cannot believe we have these 2 in a $40 set. Like, that is amazing to me. So I guess starting off with accessories, Rogue comes with like these 2 different lightning blades. They use like the legacy Dragon Blade hilt in black that was first introduced for Seabound, I believe, right? The Hydra Whipper's weapons use them. And then Morro comes with like this brick-built double-sided blade, which I like. It uses the Monkey Kid hilt piece, which feels very weird to see, because that comes in like every single set this wave, but Ninjago's like never really used it before. It's a part that's been around for what, 4 years at this point? And it's a good part, don't get me wrong, I feel like it fits this wave perfectly fine. I just don't know why now all of a sudden it's appearing in more sets. But yeah, it's got 2 like silver machetes on the end, I think it fits him. Anyway, if I remove those, now we can look up a little bit closer, and Rogue is just so cool. I mean, look at this minifigure. This is kind of crazy to see, because we've never really had something like this in Ninjago before. It's one of the ninja doing something so different for their outfit, but it still feels like them. Like, obviously we've had like the Ice Emperor in the past, but that was a very different design from Zane. This though, this still feels Jay themed, but it feels like a fully different character at the same time, which I guess is kind of the point. He's not called Jay, he's called Rogue. Anyway, you can see he's got like a sand blue undershirt and a dark blue robe on the other side. The dark blue robe has like these golden lightning effects on it, which look amazing, and those lightning bolts continue into the legs, and they almost become sort of clouds, which is kind of cool. He's got like this red tattered belt on, which is very neat to see, because I don't think we've ever had a Jay suit that uses red at all. I'm curious like what the red belt is supposed to mean, like what the significance of that is, but it does a good job to really differentiate this guy from other Jay suits. And same thing with using dark blue as the main color instead of regular blue, right? It just makes him seem a lot darker, a lot more mysterious. As I mentioned before, he does come with the Tournament of Sources armor piece, but in gold. I will say this is probably the worst part of the figure for me. It doesn't really feel like it fits in with the rest of the aesthetic. Ideally, I think something like the Season 11 Wu cape would have been really cool here, especially because he has like a little bit of dark tan fur printing up here, so that feels like it could tie really well into like a fur cape. But no, he just has the armor piece instead, which works okay. It just feels very bright to me in comparison to everything else. Honestly, I think sticking with the black probably would have been better. Then he also has an all-new hat piece for this wave, which is quite interesting. This is now, what, our 3rd type of straw hat? We have the original Wu hat, we have the one that was introduced for the LEGO Ninjago movie, and now we have this one, which is a little bit bigger and it has a stud on the top for more customization, and Jay uses it here in dark blue, which looks really good. I saw some people saying like, oh no, Jay's bald now, because you can see he doesn't have any hair underneath there. I would not take that as Jay's bald. I would assume Jay is not bald. This is just how LEGO pieces work. I assume this piece is going to be reused somewhere else for somebody else at some point, so by not including hair, it becomes more broadly useful. If they included Jay's hair, it could only really be used for him, so I get why they did what they did. And now for the important part, the face print, because yes, there is an all-new face print for Jay in this set, because every other Jay face print is double-sided, and of course you could see the back of his head out of the back of the figure, so he can't have a double-sided face. And luckily, they did give him an all-new print. They didn't just like remove one side of his regular face print. Instead, he's got an all-new angry face, which this is just perfect. Like, this is everything I could want. We of course do already have angry faces for Jay, but none that are like this. This just feels so serious, right? Jay is, in general, like a quite silly character, so the angry faces we've had from him in the past do have a degree of like silliness to them. This though, I think the biggest thing about it is it's perfectly symmetrical, which I'm pretty sure no other Jay face is. The mouth's not like slightly off to one side of the mouth isn't curved up a little bit more. No, this is Jay fully locked in, and I think that just looks amazing. Really hope there's other chances to get this face print, because yeah, I just want more of it. There's a look at the back torso print too, which has the Ninjago letter J, so yes, hey, I mean, he's still remembering who he is a little bit. There's more of that metallic silver lightning with the clouds at the bottom too, and that dark tan fur continues around the back here too. Speaking of the Ninjago letter J, there's one more thing I didn't point out at the front. He has these 2 little like tags that hang down. One has the Ninjago letter R, the other has the Ninjago letter J. We can assume the R is for Rogue and the J is for Jay, so the point's probably to show his conflict between his 2 identities. Jay's hairpiece does not come in this set, but I'm sure you guys want to see what it looks like, so there is the new face print with the hairpiece on. In my opinion, that looks absolutely spectacular. And here he is with the hat on, but without the half mask. You can see his face a little bit better if I bend him back like this. And finally, Morro, which it's just crazy to see we're getting a new Morro minifigure in the year 2025. When this guy comes out, it will be 10 years since the last time we got one, because we never got one for Ninjago Legacy, so it is so exciting to get this character again, even though I'm not really sure like how he's going to come about in the show. What does he have to do with this season? I have no idea. How is he even back? No clue. But all of that aside, I really like this minifigure. He sticks with dark green and sand green as his main color scheme, which is the same thing the original Morro minifigure did, but one big change change this time around is he does not use any transparent lime green, which is what color his face was and his legs were on that original minifigure. I saw a lot of people theorizing about this, like, oh, maybe he's more human now, or I don't know what's going on, like the change in color of green means he's good now. I mean, that might be part of it, but the actual answer here is that color just does not exist anymore. We could not get that color on this minifigure because the LEGO does not produce it. This transparent color that they use on this arm, transparent bright green, is just the closest we have now. So on the one hand, that's a little bit disappointing to see because it makes him less accurate to that original Morro minifigure, but on the other hand, this is not supposed to be the same Morro. This is Morro 10 years later, so it makes sense that things would be a little different. And while the transparent pieces on that original minifigure are definitely very cool, I'm actually quite happy with this change. We've had Ghost Morro before, so this one feels a little more solid, which is nice. His design does very much call back to what his original minifigure was, though. In fact, this feels like it could have been Legacy Morro if we ever had gotten one. Like, he's still got the little dragon symbol in the chest with the glowing green eyes. Now, on the original Morro figure, that was to sort of match the 2011 ninja suits. This version does not look nearly as close to the 2011 ninja suits, but you can still see it's based on that version. I guess I could show them side by side for a second, because I do have the other one right here. Sorry, Jay, I'm kicking you out for right now. Yeah, there's how those two look together. I'll keep them up here, actually, why not? But yeah, you can see this is based off the original 2011 ninja suits, and then this is sort of based off that, but it no longer looks like the 2011 ninja suits, but there's a lot of very similar things happening there. They both have like a sort of sand green scarf at the top. It's a little more prominent on the new Morro minifigure, and Morro's robes underneath everything seem a little more detailed on the new version as opposed to the old version. I like the leg piece on the new version a lot. I think lime green is a very cool color for that belt, but it's nice how it's still like tattered too. He still keeps that very like ghostly appearance that he has on that original minifigure. And of course, as I mentioned, yeah, sand green for the legs now. Funnily enough, I'm actually not the biggest fan of the ghostly arm. Like, I get they probably just wanted to include a transparent piece somewhere, but I feel like this minifigure would probably look better if he just had two sand green arms like that original one. That's a very easy customization to make if you have some extra parts. So it's not awful, but I just kind of feel like the transparent green arm feels a little bit out of place. The new version of Morro has the Legacy Skulking armor in dark green instead of the cape piece. I do think the cape is probably cooler, but this fits this version better. And then the big thing, the face print. He does have a double-sided face for the first time ever, and here's the first side, and this is a very different look. First up, the color of the face obviously was transparent here, now it's solid spring green. Spring green is a very smart choice though, because it sort of calls back to the Possessed Lloyd minifigure. And I don't know how many of you guys were fans of Ninjago back in 2015 when these sets were first coming out, but a lot of people back then weren't a big fan of this face print. A lot of people used the Possessed Lloyd face on their Morro minifigures, because with the transparency on this face, it just made it a little tough to see his expression. So especially with the hairpiece on, it didn't feel like it really captured his personality. With Possessed Lloyd though, he was still technically Morro, and it was on spring green, so it was a lot easier to see, a lot easier to make him emote. So a lot of fans did swap that out. So it's cool to see the next official version of this guy did do the exact same thing, and this might be a controversial take, but I do actually like this face print better. Now there is more than just the coloration. Morro now has cheekbones for the first time. This makes him seem a lot older, a lot more mature, especially side by side with his old version. But then he still has like that ghostly green effect around his eyes, which looks amazing, and his eyebrows are still pretty much the same design, it looks like. They're actually a little bit bushier now. But again, I do think this is an improvement. I think I actually like this version of the face better. The cheekbones definitely wouldn't represent this guy that well, but for like an older version of Morro, I think that was a really smart thing to add. And then there's a look at his alternate face where he's like fully powered up, he's angry, his eyes have turned like a lime green, and he's got like this grimace on his face. That is really awesome to see as well. I will say between the two face prints, I definitely prefer the other one, but I just love the difference between the two. It gives you so many options. Even though this is like a villain character, though I don't know if he's going to be a villain in this season, he has both a happy and an angry version depending on like how you want to display the minifigure. Anyway, that scarf continues around the back of the torso print if you want to take a look at the original Morro minifigure. Very different here in terms of what's going on with that. There's some Ninjargon there that just spells out his name in lime green, and there's how the alternate face looks from the front with the mask on. My biggest critique with this minifigure is this would have been the perfect time to introduce the green streak in his hair. In the show, Morro has always had this little green streak in one side of his hair, and the minifigure never had that, and that was fine. Like, it's not going to be one-to-one with the show, but it's been 10 years, this would have been the perfect time to finally introduce that, but no, unfortunately, it is still just like that same exact hairpiece. He still looks good even without it, but I wish that was there because that just would have made this guy absolutely perfect. Even without it though, I'm just so excited to get this character again. I know not everybody's in love with this figure, which I was kind of surprised to see. The face print especially, people just don't necessarily love. But to me at least, the spring green was like the best change they could have made. And I really like the cheekbones, he just seems a lot older, a lot wiser. This design just makes me excited for his reappearance in the show. So overall, yes, these are the two most exciting minifigures in this set, and I'm pretty darn happy with both of them. As I said, there's a few small changes I'd probably make if I was designing these, but I was not, and for what they are, I think they're pretty good, easily the best part of this set. And so, overall, what are my thoughts on this set? Personally, I do really like this set. I think it's incredibly well done. The highlight is for sure the minifigure selection, but wow, is it an amazing minifigure selection. You get 3 fully exclusive minifigures, 1 minifigure where this is the cheapest way to get them, and then 2 just generic villain minifigures which are great to just build up an army. I also just love location builds in general, so I think it's really cool to get like a little slice of where the Dragonians live. Now, with all that said, those are just my personal opinions. When it comes to recommending this set, it might be a little bit of a different story. Because I hate to admit it, but the build of this set is definitely small. Now, this set is absolutely a minifigure pack, so the build is going to be on the smaller end, but I'm trying to think of like similar sets we've had recently, right? We had the Tournament Battle Arena, which was $50 with 5 minifigures, and then going all the way back to 2020, we had like the Gamers Market, which was $30 with 9 minifigures. And both of those previous sets I really love. I think they're great sets and great minifigure packs. This one though, while I love the contents of the package, the price does still feel a little bit off to me. I think $30 would have been amazing for this set, and $35 is probably what it should be. $40 is definitely pushing it a little bit. So it really just comes down to like, what do you value most in the set? If you're a huge minifigure person, which I definitely am, then I think for the minifigures alone, this is a fairly good set. And the build I do like, it's just small. But if you are someone who cares more about the builds and the minifigures are more of just a bonus on top, I do think there's probably better sets out there for you. Because while the minifigure selection is really great and definitely does help to justify the value of this set, I still don't feel like it's enough to make it 100% feel worth it. So it's really up to you and just like how much you want to spend and where your priorities lie, but I do think the contents of the set, the minifigures especially, are really good. It's just a question of how much do you feel those are actually worth. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to my channel if you're new, and let me know in the comments which 2025 Ninjago set do you want to see an early review of next. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say, so thanks for watching everybody. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!